It's time for your daily dose of all things Chicago sports. This is the Daily Score. Now, here's your host, Mark Grote.
Hi there, and I am, again, out at Haugh talking about the Bears, and we are still discussing here on a Bears Monday, the Chargers 30-13 win over the Bears. Bears are now 2-6, and they are at New Orleans on Sunday. That said, we can tell you that Justin Fields will not play on Sunday in New Orleans. Tyson Bagent named the starter for that game again, and this is because Justin Fields' right thumb is not ready. The dislocated right thumb, Matt Eberflus continues to say that he is progressing. One thing that we don't know, that Matt Eberflus refuses to say, is whether or not he's actually throwing a football as of right now. My guess is that he has tried to throw a football and that he's not doing a lot of that right now. That just because Flus won't answer that, and because they are extremely confident that obviously he's going to miss this game, it makes you wonder, like, how, if it's a little bit more serious than we thought. I thought he'd be back for this game. It's not out of the question, I think, too, that the reason that he's not playing is because that's a tough one to just drop Justin Fields into against that New Orleans defense, which is very good. New Orleans being a difficult place in which to play. I mean, we all know that to hear. So maybe, coming off the injured list, they don't want to just throw Justin Fields into. That's possible. I think it is more just the dude has a dislocated right thumb, and it's, not healing quickly and wasn't expected to necessarily heal quickly. Again, I thought he'd be back, but that is not the case. So Tyson Bagent will be the guy. Bagent was just okay, if that, in the game against the Chargers. Again, 25 of 37, 300, make that 232 yards, and a couple of interceptions in the game. That said, after reviewing the video and the film, and the tape, however you want to phrase it, this was Eberflus on Tyson Bagent.
Yeah, I mean, there's some solid points in the game yesterday. Obviously the first game, it was good, and what was different was the takeaways, right? So we got to do a good job of protecting the ball, right, and being on the positive side or the even side of that battle, turnover battle, and that was really the difference. I still think he delivered the ball well. I thought he did, took some shots down the field, which we didn't see in the first game, which was exciting to see. And we're going to continue to stretch the field vertically and horizontally.
But do you think yesterday was a little bit, and I hate to call it a wake-up call, but just an alarm that to your other players that this guy needs more support? I mean, he needs everything going. He needs the wind at his back more as an undrafted rookie guy that maybe you wouldn't have seen 2 weeks ago because everything went right. You were at home, and things went better.
Yeah, I mean,
yesterday a little bit of a difference.
Sure, but right, I would say, Mark, that's more of a team thing. It was more of a team thing. So when you look at the Washington game or the Vegas game or those games like that, to me, you're playing complementary football the entire time, right? You're playing good defense. You're taking the ball away. You're getting drives. You're converting on third downs on offense, and that wasn't that way yesterday. So to point just to the quarterback there, that's not. And your point,
I'm saying
your point well taken though is that it takes everybody. And I always tell those guys, it's all of us, and it will take all of us. So and that's no different than yesterday or last week or the week before. So when you want to play good football, it's got to be complementary. You got to play together.
I think what we saw, though, and I talked about this yesterday a little bit on the podcast, what we learned about Tyson Bagent is that really he does not have a ton of velocity on the throws. There isn't that zip factor, and it left him vulnerable at times. Throws, what he saw with his eyes and his brain did not correspond well with his arm. And a couple of times, he threw obviously the two interceptions, but there were other plays, like in the third quarter when the Bears were down 27-7. I don't know if you remember, about the middle of the third quarter, and he floats one down the middle that felt like it was up for grabs. I mean, there was a plan. I think it was in the general direction of DJ Moore, who was pretty well covered. This is not a quarterback, Tyson Bagent, who has the luxury of, trying to pinpoint passes. He's got to be pretty sure a guy is open. He can't do like what Jay Cutler could at times do, find small spaces with his arm. Guys that have been like that through the years with the big arms. I mean, Dan Marino back in the day. I get that's a very old reference, but that's the way Marino was. Hell, the quarterback that the Bears face. Here's this for a better reference. How about Justin Herbert? Justin Herbert, he got zip. You saw a big difference in those quarterbacks in regards to that. So that is something that I learned for sure about Tyson Bagent, and that, look, he's going to improve, but he looked like a rookie. He looked like a backup. That's what he looked like. So that's where Flus is with Bagent. The horrible tackling was something, man. It was something for the Bears, and a lot of guilty parties. TJ Edwards with the glaring miss of Austin Eckler early. Elijah Hicks had a rough game. Just felt like everybody at some point in time had a bad tackling moment. Here's Eberflus on all that.
Just what I saw. I mean, I've seen ball a lot of years, 32 years of coaching football, and I've seen it. I've seen when it looks right, and I've seen it when it's just a little bit off. And it's about having that the vision. If you're in zone, and then the breaking on the quarterback's arm, and having the angles, and being able to close that space. We call it make daylight evaporate, and we've done a good job of that the last couple of weeks. And, we take pride in that. We really work at it. So it's been good the last couple of weeks, but it's got to be improved from the first half.
I like what he's saying there. We'd like to make daylight evaporate. I'm sorry, I got stuck on that one. Daylight evaporate. That's pretty deep right there. I don't know. It sounds like that's bad for our environment. Isn't that what's happening anyway? Isn't daylight evaporating or something like that? But anyway, yeah, it was pretty bad. Like, it was just so disappointing because I really thought that based on what the Bears did when they went to Washington on a Thursday night in the prime time, they were so focused in that game. And there was none of that in this game. None of that, and I thought that there would be a little bit better focus, and it was just terrible. And you lost everything early on in that game, I thought, and it was because of the bad tackling. Another thing from Matt Eberflus, this is really you guys are going to be you're going to feel like this is some dramatic buildup here from Matt Eberflus on the Bears starting strong safety. Jaquan Brisker did not play against the Chargers. He's been out sick. And Flus has something to add to all of that.
The next update I have for you is a little bit unique, right? And it's a little bit different, explaining this, but let me try to do the best I can. So Jaquan Brisker, right? So we've been reporting that he was been ill for a week. So Sunday, Monday, he checked out fine with evaluation and with independent neurologist, being cleared from concussion. Right, so he was all set. Then Tuesday reported that he was ill, right, and had a fever, and that persisted through Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and into Friday. Brought him into the building, right. So he was in here then, and then still not feeling well. We ruled him out on Saturday, and then again wasn't feeling well, and then his illness, cleared, Saturday. Then Sunday he felt he was cleared in terms of his illness, and then still felt a little bit off, in terms of having different like symptoms and those types of things. So we got him reevaluated, and then now he is back into concussion protocol. And that was on Sunday, wasn't feeling well, and then Monday this morning we got him tested again, and he's now back in concussion protocol. So that's where it is. I understand that's unique. I've never had that happen before, but again, he got ill during that process, and then when he was done being ill, then he still had the symptoms, and we were working with Jaquan the whole way, talking to him, making sure he was squared away. And the most important thing is our players' safety and health. And Jaquan did a very good job of communicating with us, and the training staff did a really good job too of seeing this thing all the way through.
That is a classic case of it is what it is. And I actually thought that, I know it sounds all weird and convoluted, but I actually thought that was a pretty thorough, real explanation from Matt Eberflus on Jaquan Brisker, who obviously, that's not good that he's back in the protocol, and you wish the best for him. And I do appreciate Matt Eberflus being as detailed on that as he was. A few nuggets to get us out of here today. Velus Jones, after his rough game with the falling in the end zone, the fair catch interference, tweeting, "I know who I am," close quote. And then he had the smiley face with the shades emoji on. Matt Eberflus wouldn't say much about Tremaine Edmonds' knee, but it doesn't sound like it's horrific. That's the best that I could say for it. As far as like Lucas Patrick and why did he pop up on the injury report like he did on Saturday? Said he just woke up with back spasms. Matt Eberflus would not tell us who would have been the backup center. He decided that needs to be a secret. And the Bears will only do a walkthrough on Wednesday, and which is usually the first big day of practice. That's where it all starts, man. The prep begins. It's usually a huge day in NFL weeks, but they're just going to do a walkthrough that day because it's West Coast recovery, according to the Flus. They are at the Saints, so they got another long road trip to think about. And then the next game after that is a Thursday nighter. So this is all just sort of, preparation and rest management and all that kind of stuff. So that was the reason for that. That is it for today from Haugh. I will have more for you tomorrow on the Daily Score. For Ray Diaz, I'm Mark Grote, and this is the Daily Score. Goodbye.